The NBA playoffs are here, and I'm getting my bets in on FanDuel. Talk to me, Chuck GPT. What do you know?
All sorts of interesting stuff, even Charles Barkley's greatest fear.
Hey, nobody needs to know that.
New customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
21 plus and present in select states.
Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome to the 1012 Softball Show, where we talk Big 12 softball. It's not Thursday. We're coming to you a little bit early because we've got regional action this week, so we wanted to make sure we had plenty of time for you to hear our thoughts on postseason and the Big 12. Big news for the conference also at the University of Houston. We got a lot to talk about. So, of course, we're excited to have you here listening to the 1012 Softball Show, part of the 1012 Network. Find every show on the network at 1012network.com. And, of course, we are partners with Sports Social, Europe's biggest sports podcast network.
Is he frozen? Or is
he's definitely frozen. Oh, now he's back to multi. Here we go again. Not again. Oh, the multi Phillip.
No, I missed it.
Oh, you weren't prepared.
I'm not even going to cut it. I'm just going to leave this because I've been having technical difficulties. We have tried. This is the second night we've tried to record this podcast, folks. So hopefully this will get done. Maybe we'll see. Possibly. We do have 2 guests for today. So if this doesn't go well, at least you'll have something to listen to. Very excited to have Oklahoma State senior Megan Bloodworth and Texas Tech freshman Bailey Lindemuth coming up here in just a little bit. It could be 20 minutes. It could be 30 minutes. It could be 5 minutes because I get so frustrated we just end the recording of the podcast. So when I say we, I mean my 2 illustrious guest hosts who join me every week to talk Big 12 softball. He is the voice of UCF softball. He's sporting a really snazzy haircut. He was there for Big 12 tournament. If you missed all the great clips and interviews that he had posted on social and YouTube, you need to go check him out. And of course, he is one half of the In the Circle podcast, the NCAA softball podcast. He is Eric Lopez.
It's an honor to be here. I have experience hosting, so if I have to take over at any point, I can do that. But it's a pleasure to be on.
It might. It might require you to take over. It might. That just might happen. If you hear someone else laughing, that is the trash talk queen of the 1012 network. That is the most famous Iowa State softball alum. That is the mother of the Cycloneers. That is the Quad City queen. That is Baylor head coach Glenmore's third best friend. That is Lea Nelson.
Thank you. I apologize for laughing. It just, when you're not the one with technical difficulties, it's a good time, but I feel you. I've been there, Phillip. So we'll get through this.
I'm just going to say, Verizon, not a sponsor. And with the way this internet change has been going, will not be. At least not Verizon Internets. So we'll see how the show goes.
Eric is rolling over there. He is. He's got tears in his eyes, I think.
Good. I love it.
I just relate. I can relate. I had similar issues in Oklahoma City, so maybe this is like the Phillip's returning the favor.
Yeah. That's one way to talk about. We got a lot to talk about before we get to our interviews with our fantastic guests. However you're listening or watching, well, you're not watching us, thank goodness. Though it is a pretty entertaining intro. Maybe this is the video I will post just because it's hilarious that these 2 are laughing hysterically and I'm not using my camera for the hopes that it won't kick me off of the interview or the conversation again. Do us a favor, leave us 5 stars and a positive review. It's been a while since we got a review. I know that some of you are listening, so all you got to do is take a minute, especially on iTunes. Just leave us a little 5 stars, leave us a review. You could say something nice about Lea. Ooh, I know. If you read your best trash talk in the review, Lea will read it on the next episode. Okay, you've only got
that's such a great idea.
1 or 2 episodes left after this week. So here's the concept: you leave us a review and leave trash talk for Lea, and Lea will read it on the next episode for everyone to hear. Why did I think about this now on May 13th and all the way back in March? I do not know. Listen on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment. We would appreciate it. Of course, we'll post the video from our interviews. Hopefully they recorded properly. We'll just have to find out the hard way, I guess. Verizon, not a sponsor. Don't forget, inaugural season of the Athletes Unlimited Softball League gets underway in June. Completed their first collegiate draft a couple weeks ago. Arizona's Devin Netz was taken by the Bandits. You can see her, Lexi Kilfoyle, Sam Shao, and other Arizona and Utah alum playing across the country all summer long. Wichita, Kansas, up to Seattle, Washington, Norman, Oklahoma, Round Rock, Texas, North Carolina, all over the country. A lot of great professional softball to be played. You don't want to miss out. So what you need to do is go to theausl.com, pick out which games you want to go to, buy those single game tickets, use our promo code 1012, TEN12, get 10% off single game tickets at theausl.com. I've got to figure out how to get my girls out to either Wichita or Norman. Like, I'm just, I want to, because this is going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Again, I'm a Bandits fan. I'm just going to leave it at that. All right. Eric, Lea, the field is set. We know who's participating in regionals. Let's start with the team that for a second straight year is among the first four out with BYU. I asked Eric if I should have tried to get an interview with Gordon Eakin, and he kindly said, don't do that. And I said, you know what? Good call. Eric, your thoughts on BYU being left out for a second straight year?
Wasn't surprised. I had them at 65 myself. And, again, we've talked about it ad nauseum, so I don't want to spend too much time on it because we have a lot of topics to get to. But, the non-conference schedule strength probably didn't help BYU in that regard. If you look at that Big 12 championship that I was at, if they beat Iowa State, get to the semifinal, is that enough for them to get over the hump over Northwestern? I'm not sure. I think there was some politics played into that committee as well. I mean, it's not an accident there's a person from Northwestern in the room, so I'm sure that helps a team like Northwestern. But for BYU, hopefully they'll schedule tougher non-conference, Lea, because I think they were good enough the last couple of years to get into the tournament. The non-conference schedule has kept them out. And I wonder if maybe BYU will figure that out and schedule a little more difficult here in the years to come.
Yeah, if this isn't a wake-up call, I don't know what is. I'm hoping that they definitely start scheduling tougher non-con, because obviously this is the second year in a row that they haven't made it. And they're a team that I could see doing well in the postseason. So it's a little disappointing to think that they were so close. But they know. They should know. And hopefully their schedule shows it next year.
Yeah, I mean, look, do I think that BYU is better than Northwestern? Absolutely. Do I think that BYU is better than, I don't know, who's some of the final 14? Yeah, I think BYU should have been there. I think there's an argument that Iowa State was a better team.
Yes.
I don't have to like the RPI. I don't have to like how it works, but that is the world that we live in. And we can fight against that. We can talk about it. We can have those conversations. But as long as we're in this world where the committee is going to make RPI what it is and value the metrics they're going to value, you have to go along with that. And for BYU, that means you got to get more creative in scheduling. Eric, I want to pitch you a proposal because I had a thought about this because you hear, having talked to Kenny Gajewski, having talked to Glenn Moore in the past, sometimes these Big 12 teams have trouble getting opponents to come to town that are good, right? And so I wonder if Big 12 teams shouldn't look at opportunities when they don't play each other in conference play to pair up in the non-conference earlier in the season. And so my suggestion would be for BYU to go on out to Orlando for the first weekend of the season, where UCF typically has a good collection of teams. You see Georgia a lot there. You see some quad 3 Big 10 teams. And go, BYU and UCF, as far as we know, are not on the conference schedule for next season with each other. Go on out to Orlando. Go play UCF for a game. Go play the SEC team that shows up there, because UCF typically does a good job. And set something up there. I mean, why not?
It could be Clearwater too. Could be, the NFCA tournament, something like that. I think would help BYU a lot. There's no question about that because they're right there. They're very close. They had a heck of a year. They got one of the best freshmen in the country in the offensive end. I don't disagree with that. I want to go though towards Iowa State because I disagree in that. I think the Iowa State situation there, Lea, is so unique in that we're never had a team that finished in the top 3 in the Big 12 in the regular season and then get to a semifinal in the Big 12 and not make the tournament. And the RPI, yes, is 65. But, as I've said this, if this was any other sport, basketball in particular, Iowa State would be in the tournament. That's why they got rid of the RPI, because there are flaws in it. And I think Iowa State has exposed that. And I think it is, I mentioned it, and it's not just the Iowa State thing. I think we've realized, and we always blame the committee this and the committee that, and there's some shared blame there. But what the committee's working with, I think, is just as much of a problem. I think the system of the RPI is archaic. I think we've got it. The system is broken. This is the same system. I've joked about this since Sunday night. I didn't know that Boston can bus all the way to Norman, Oklahoma, but apparently they can because they go there every year. That's insane. And I think there's a lot of flaws in the system, and one of them being Iowa State should be an NCAA tournament team. And here's a crazy concept, guys. You don't have to put in the last place team in the SEC or the next last place team. As great as SEC basketball was this year, not everybody gets in. So why should everybody in softball get in? Softball is the only sport that rewards that. So I think there's time that these coaches have to speak up and talk about changing this. Otherwise, we're going to see the same problems like the Iowa State, but more specifically, there was only one mid-major at large that got a bid this year, in part because the major conferences occupied. So I think there's a lot of issues, and I will address this with their committee chairperson next year when I have them on, hopefully. And I think there are some serious topics that need to be discussed and not just looked away and say, well, so be it. I think there are some serious things that need to be discussed.
No, I'm so glad you said that, Eric, because my whole social media has been filled this past week of just Iowa State fans believing Iowa State, got snubbed out of the tournament, which, yes, I believe too. I'm a huge Iowa State fan. But I think these are the people that are huge, basketball fans that don't necessarily understand how, the committee for softball kind of chooses the team. So it's nice that you're able to explain that. But obviously, yes, we're seeing something that needs to be addressed, something that needs to change, because at the end of the day, it is crazy that Iowa State finished 3rd in the Big 12 and they did not make the tournament. So, and I would say that even if I didn't go to Iowa State.
No, the point is valid. Look, even in basketball is the perfect everyone understands it comp. I can't imagine a Big 12 team. And let's talk about, we'll use women's basketball as the example because it doesn't have, men's basketball, we get it. It's super strong conference. If you're finishing top 3 in men's basketball in the Big 12, you're getting in. On women's basketball, I can't imagine a team having the non-conference that Iowa State did and then going into conference play and finishing in conference play the way they did and that not being enough to get them into the tournament. I don't understand. I don't understand that at all. And I understand the struggles in the non-conference. I understand the struggles to start the season. But the way they played in Big 12 play, if you're in one of the 3 best conferences from a rating standpoint and you finish top 3, and it does not doing so does not propel you from a metric standpoint into being a postseason team, then there's a flaw in the postseason system. There is. And I don't know what the answer to that is. I wish I did. We could talk about KPI. KPI didn't favor Iowa State much better than RPI did. And so we've really got to start evaluating how do we, I get it's a complicated question and it's going to require a complicated answer, but until people are forced to actually start looking at it, and I just don't know how much they do. I'm sure they look at it a little bit here and a little bit there, and they tinker and they tweak. It needs to actually be looked at, if not torn down and started over from scratch, because it doesn't make sense for a team to finish top 3 in one of the 3 best conferences in the country, but because of their non-conference, they don't get to go into the postseason. That doesn't make any sense. Because also, let's talk about it. They finished top 3 in the Big 12. That means you are one of the best teams in the country on the second half of the season. I'm sorry that they struggled in the first half. Teams get better. I don't get it.
Right.
I don't get it.
No, listen, basketball figured this out. They got rid of the RPI. They blew it up. They started over. That's what softball needs to do. I think baseball's even adjusted to it. They tweaked the system there a little bit. And listen, I'm going to defend BYU in this regard. Okay, you're going to knock them and keep them out because of their non-conference schedule strength. Yet, Oregon played 31 quad 4 games, got and played one of the worst non-conference schedules in the 150s. They barely left the state of Oregon, and they still got rewarded by hosting. So why is one different than the other? Be consistent. That's all. And that's the thing that's frustrating. There doesn't seem to be consistency. It's kind of a pick and choose situation. And listen, I like some of the things the committee did, but I think if you're not consistent, you're going to get caught. And but again, I think you got to help these people by changing the system and format and make this simpler. Like, common sense has to come in at some point. If a team finished in the top half of your league and it's rated the third best conference in the sport, maybe they should be in the tournament. Basketball has figured this out. You don't hear very rarely. I know North Carolina was controversial this year, but basketball seems to have figured it out with all the metrics that they have developed with the Ken Palms of the world and everything like that. Who's the Ken Palm of college softball? That's who you need to find.
It's a great question. We need to create that person. We need to incentivize. I'll get on all my college football guys who do metrics and be like, all right, start some softball stuff here, okay? Maybe if there was college softball betting, that more people would be buying into building up metrics because then they'd want to know how to make money off of it. I'll say this on your Oregon. Like, I don't understand the Big Ten getting 8 teams in. It was not a good conference. And I understand that they have a ton of teams. That 3 of your last 4 from the Big Ten. We, just like I have a problem with it in basketball, we got to get rid of sitting ADs and coaches on committees. Like, it just makes it too hard. Like, we have got to remake committees that don't include people with a bias. And everyone's going to have a bias. I get that. But I want former coaches. I want people who cover this. I want people who actually have to watch tons and tons and tons and tons of softball.
Well, what I would say is this year, all the conferences were represented in the room, which has not been the case in the past. So I think that's a step forward in that direction. Here's the problem with the Big Ten. Here's what they did. They know how to manipulate the RPI.
So does the
That's
SEC.
The thing. That's why Correct. They have both figured out a way to manipulate the RPI. Like, if you really break down Iowa State's resume and a Baylor resume even, versus a Northwestern maybe, or an Indiana in particular, or Purdue, like, Iowa State doubles them in top 50 wins and a lot of the metrics. But because they have been able to figure out how to kind of be a computer tricker, that's the word we use in college basketball, people use all the time, like, who are the schools that are really not as good, but the metric says they are? They're called a computer tricker. That's what I think the Big Ten has done. They have been able to do a very good job of scheduling to a certain way and making sure that no matter what, they're going to have a pretty good RPI to keep him in there. Look, I know for a fact they talked to Kevin Paga. Kevin Paga created the KPI, so they have an idea how the metrics work. And I'm not saying I don't know if the Big 12 does or doesn't. I think that's all. But my point is, I think the Big Ten has figured out how to schedule from a Midwest perspective. And look, this is nothing new. The reason the RPI left in basketball is because they got tired of the Missouri Valley manipulating the system, and all of a sudden they had like 4 or 5 teams in the top 30 in the RPI. It's the same thing. And again, it keeps going back to what I'm saying. The system is broken in that regard, and it's not the humans involved. It's the metrics that they're using. So we need to get more metrics involved like basketball did, i.e. the net. They use the net system. They use Ken Palm as a reference. They use other metrics as a reference. Softball is basically the RPI and a little bit of the KPI, and that's it. We need more because it's not working the way it is.
All right, so what Eric has said is that he is going to start his own college softball rating system.
No, listen, and also, and in seriousness,
I don't know how. I don't know how. And if I did, I would.
Right.
Like tomorrow.
Right.
I get it.
And I would be happy to be in the committee room, by the way. I will put my mouth, what's the old cliche? Put my money where my mouth is? Is that what it says? Is that how it works, Lea? Is that how that works?
You nailed it. Yeah. You nailed it.
Okay. I will sacrifice being a co-host, being a guest on this show to be on the committee to help them out if that's what it takes for the good of the sport.
No? All right.
Oh.
We can, I guess we'll replace you. That's fine.
We'll discuss later.
I don't think I'm getting a phone call, so I don't think you have to worry about it.
But again, having more people on the committee who watch a lot of softball as opposed to people who don't have the time to watch a lot of softball and have to rely. I can't believe I'm basically saying I need more people who can come in and have the eye test because I hate the eye test. But at the same time, if the system is flawed, I need people who have watched softball to be able to say, like, I get what this says, but I've actually watched these teams and no, thank you. Shouldn't be there.
Well, and I also think I feel that the softball committee people, and I've talked to some of them, they mean well. They want to get it right.
Sure.
Sometimes because you want to get it right, you might go a little conservative. In other words, I'm going to make the safe pick. Because let's be honest, if they would have, let's say they would have picked Iowa State, what would have been the reaction? Whoa, I can't believe they picked a team with a 60 blah blah RPI. So I got to be honest, Phillip, I think some of us in the media sometimes is to blame for that, because if they would have picked Iowa State, they would have gotten criticized. Well, why did you pick Iowa State with such a bad RPI, quote unquote? So I feel like they're in a no-win situation sometimes, where basketball people, I get a sense they don't care. Like, they took North Carolina. That got a lot of criticism in men's basketball, but they just said they gave their reasons and they moved on. Right. But the point is, they didn't just go conservative. They just took who they took. It was a controversial pick, but they took them. And I feel like softball is worried about that at times.
Fair. All right, well, let's talk about this postseason for a little bit. We do have 5 Big 12 teams for another year in the tournament. Would love to see more than that, but we do have 5. Arizona's hosting the Tucson Regional. Very excited for that one. They've got Ole Miss. They've got Grand Canyon, and I'm having to do this from memory because I'm afraid if I try and open another page on my machine while we chat, that my internet will fail out and we'll have another problem.
Do you need my help with that?
So, Eric,
I have my sheet here. Yes,
I have it on my phone. I was trying to pull it up real quick so that we can have this conversation. Great,
I got you. I got you here.
Okay, Arizona's the 13 seed, as I mentioned, with Ole Miss as the 2, Grand Canyon the 3, Santa Clara as the 4. Texas Tech also is the other host out of the Big 12, the 12 seed. They've got Mississippi State as the 2, Washington is the 3, and Brown as the 4. I never understand on why on the official NCAA bracket, sometimes the 3 and the 4 seed are swapped on where their position is. It doesn't make any sense.
It's dumb. I don't
know. Anywho, for another day. Arizona State is the 2 seed. A little surprised they ended up with the 2 over the 3. But at UCLA, San Diego State's the 3, and UC Santa Barbara is the 4. Oklahoma State is the 2 seed in the Fayetteville Regional, with Arkansas as the 1, Indiana as the 3, and St. Louis as the 4. And UCF, not in Gainesville, not in Tallahassee. They're in Austin as the 2 seed at the Texas Regional. Michigan is the 3, Eastern Illinois as the 4. Eric, let's start in the Austin Regional. I was shocked that they didn't send them to a Florida school. I'm even more shocked they sent them to Austin, of all the places to fly them out to Austin, Texas, with Michigan and Eastern Illinois. I'm still just like, that is not a place I would have expected them to get flown to if they were going to fly somewhere.
That's interesting. Where do you think would you have thought? Because, as I went through this process, I looked at it and I saw that, boy, they're going to have to fly some teams to fill out the 2 seeds. And I wrote, actually, on Black and Gold Banner Red, I wrote it around 4 a.m. in the Oklahoma City Airport hotel there before my flight to Orlando. And I said, if there was ever a year they were going to fly UCF out of the state, this would be the year. Because both them and FAU are worthy of being 2 seeds. And to me, they decided to fly UCF. So I wasn't shocked. I was surprised, because I was one of those mentality of, I'll see it when I believe it. I thought Texas could be one of the options there. Where did you think? What would you have thought if I would have told you, hey, Phillip, UCF is going to be sent. They're going to be flying. Where did you think they would have sent them to?
I would have thought they would have gone to Baton Rouge and Nebraska would have gone to Austin. I would have thought those 2 seeds would have been flipped. That to me would have made more sense. And now you may find out if I actually book it that there's not that much of a difference between the flights for those 2 just because of how far away Austin actually is. But I would have thought Nebraska would have gone to Texas and UCF would have gone to LSU. That one seemed, because I get why from a proximity standpoint, Clemson or Kentucky is at Clemson, why Georgia is at Duke. I get where we're gonna bus them when we can, but it would have made more sense to me from to have Nebraska in Austin and UCF at LSU?
I think, okay, and I said this on the live show on the D1 softball show because I felt this was the first time that I can remember where I think the committee tried to seed this 32 teams because there were some wacky flights there. And I wonder if this is a test drive for perhaps expanding to a 32 seed tournament where you seed the top 32 instead of the top 16. Because otherwise, you're right. If you go based on travel, UCF to LSU probably makes more sense than Nebraska going to LSU. But I really do believe, Phillip, that they felt that Nebraska going to LSU because they were higher seeding pecking order than a UCF. And that's why, and then you look at the seeding, LSU is 10 seed, so they sent Nebraska there. 9 seed is UCLA. Well, you're going to bust a team there in Arizona State. You're going to bust Virginia to South Carolina. You're going to bust Ohio State to Tennessee. So I think that's how they landed with UCF at Texas as the next spot there. And it tells me, too, that I think the committee had Arizona State ahead of UCF in the pecking order, which you could make a good argument for that because they made the semifinals of the Big 12. They beat them head-to-head. And I think they had, and so I really do believe they tried to seed this close to as top 32 as you can, but including also the 400-mile radius bus trip. So I think that's how UCF ended up at Texas. But I felt if there was a year they were going to be shipped out, this would be the year. And I think it's a compliment to the program and what Coach Ball Malone has done to now UCF being a Power 4 school, being a Big 12 school. It's like, hey, you're not just automatically going to get bused to Gainesville and Tallahassee like the other Florida schools. We're going to consider you for all options. And I think in the long term, that's a good thing for UCF.
Agreed. I mean, we complained about Boston getting sent to Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma, for like 4 straight years. Like, it's nice that, UCF's getting a new opportunity to go somewhere outside of Florida. And I think that's good because look, they play Florida all the time. And it's I mean, that's not doing Florida any favors considering how high a seed Florida is. Like, hey, by the way, this team that's already beaten you once this year, we're gonna send them out to you, 3 seed Florida. Like, right. It also makes sense from that standpoint. Now, again, I think this is a really tough spot for UCF. I think Texas is really good. I don't know how I feel about Michigan. I know UCF and Michigan seem to have somehow played fairly often in recent years, I feel like. Because, of course, Michigan...
That's the funny part.
Yeah, they were the 2 seed at UC when UCF hosted, right?
Yeah. Yep. So, correct. They were the 2 seed in Orlando, and there's still players on both rosters that played in that regional. Lauren Dukowski, the pitcher for Michigan, Caitlin Felton, the pitcher for UCF, Ashley Griffin, who hit a home run in that regional. Look, and then remember, UCF and Texas just played last year when Texas and UCF were members of the Big 12. So Sidney Ball Malone knows that Texas lineup pretty well, whereas Texas does not know this UCF lineup because a lot of the players that played against Texas last year graduated. So I think there's an advantage there from UCF. But this is a tough regional. I think this is a top 3 regional. When you look at what's the toughest regionals, I think this is a top 3 regional, and I think ESPN would agree because they put UCF Michigan on ESPN 2. So while I do agree with you, it's a difficult regional, I think UCF can win some games here. I don't know if they'll get out of the regional, but I think this is all valuable experience for that young roster moving forward for the future.
Lea, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I agree with what Eric said about this being such a tough regional. I mean, I've seen all of these teams play, and yes, I don't know if they'll make it out, but I think they're going to put up a good fight against Texas. I see Texas struggling a little bit. I don't know. I'm excited to see them play against Michigan, of course. Watching them in the Big Ten tournament, I was pleasantly surprised with how they've kind of finished their season out. So it'll be interesting, but I'm kind of, not to segue into the next regional, but I'm most excited about Arizona's matchup. I think they've got it really, really tough.
Yeah, I love that segue. I'll say this. I'll take hold on. I'll take Texas to win their regional, but I've got them beating UCF in their regional final. I do think UCF's going to win some games. I think they're better than Michigan and obviously Eastern Illinois. So I think it's going to be hard for them to be able to beat Texas twice.
A regional final would be a great ending for this year for this team. This has been a successful year regardless for Coach Ball Malone. When you consider, Phillip, and you had her on the show, think about it. They had all the starters they lost. They had basically no position players coming back that played the same position that they did this year. I think it's been a successful year for UCF.
Agreed. To Arizona. Yeah, Arizona's the one, as we mentioned. Ole Miss the two. Ole Miss is sneaky with that offense that they've got there. Arizona's played Grand Canyon this season, so they're familiar with them. And you got Santa Clara. I think you're right, Leah. From a standpoint of difficulty, it's a tough regional for Arizona to get out of. Like I will favor Arizona because I think that offense, and I think Devin Netz is so good in the circle that they're gonna be fine. But I do think it's gonna be a battle. Grand Canyon, here's the deal. If you told me Grand Canyon, Ole Miss, or Arizona came out of this regional, none of those things would surprise me. I'm going to be honest. And I actually think Grand Canyon's got a better shot than Ole Miss does. I like Grand Canyon better than Ole Miss. But and I think that's going to be I don't know if Arizona will see Ole Miss. They may not, because I think that's how good Grand Canyon is. Grand Canyon also, not only did they get their head coach a new contract, he is now the highest paid softball coach in the state of Arizona, which means he makes more money than Caitlin Lowe and Megan Bartlett at Arizona and Arizona State.
What a world we live in, huh?
Yeah,
what a world we live in there. I think it's a fun regional. Everything you said about Grand Canyon is dead on. I had Shannon Hayes on my podcast. They're legit. They pushed Arizona. They played earlier this year. I want to say they went to extra innings when they played. And I agree with you. I actually like them over Ole Miss. Like, if you told me make a regional prediction, I think it's Arizona Grand Canyon final. It would not shock me if it went to a Game 7 if necessary. But I still like Arizona. I think they have too much depth, too much talent, and they're at home. And I think for Arizona, what's interesting is I like their path here because if they were to get past this regional, they're matched up with the Fayetteville regional winner. And they've had success against the host Arkansas. They beat them last year in the Fayetteville regional. They got out of that regional, getting to the supers. Back in 2021, Arizona knocked off Arkansas in Fayetteville in the super regionals in Mike Kendrea's last year. So if they get past this regional, I actually like Arizona's path from that standpoint because they've had success. If they have to play Arkansas in Fayetteville, they're comfortable playing there. And there's no guarantees they're going to have to play Arkansas. So if Arizona gets past this, which I think they will, they've got a good shot to get to the World Series.
Our segues are so good. Look at us transitioning right into Oklahoma State's.
I love it. Yeah, I know. I agree. I think Arizona. I have already filled out a let's call it a bracket, and I have Arizona and OKC, just so you're aware. Look, I know I've become the eternal Oklahoma State pessimist this season, and I understand that. I'm fully expecting Oklahoma State to beat Indiana. I don't think Indiana's very good. St. Louis is the first time they've made the tournament, correct, Eric? They're one of the first, the 5 first-time evers in St. Louis.
I think so, yeah.
So it's an interesting storyline, but I like Arkansas. I just don't know. Again, look, Arkansas for 2 straight years, the running gag has been they've lost in their home regional, so they didn't have to play Oklahoma State in the supers because that's how badly they don't want to have to play a game against Oklahoma State. And now Oklahoma State is in Fayetteville. I'm picking Arkansas to come out of here because I'm that high on Bri Ellis. Like I just having watched her and I watched quite a few of her the SEC tournament games for Arkansas, and she is just like, good luck. Like, you're not going to shut her down completely. It's not going to happen. And so you look at the rest of the teams in this regional, whose offense do you really trust to keep up with Arkansas? And even if you get an absolute A game out of Ruby Malin against Arkansas, I just have a hard time saying that, like, seeing Oklahoma State beat Arkansas twice, because that's what you're going to have to do to get out of this one. So I think Arkansas wins this. I feel like Oklahoma State's in the regional final there. I'm really curious in game 1 against Indiana. I don't think if you're Kenny, you want to throw Ruby. I think you want to try and get Crandall in there to start things off and see if you can't save Ruby for potentially Arkansas in game 2. But it's going to be really interesting. It's really going to rely on, does Oklahoma State's offense show up? Does the annual retreat ahead of the regional. And I did ask our good friend Megan Bloodworth about the retreat, so she'll be talking about that coming up. There's your segue for that too. I did ask her about the retreat, a little bit different this year, but I just don't know. I just don't know. But I'm taking Arkansas out of this one. I don't see anyone beating them twice.
I feel like I have been the biggest Oklahoma State supporter in the sense of
On this
me
podcast,
saying,
yeah.
yes, of the show being like, oh, just wait. Like they'll get it. They'll, the same old Oklahoma State team that we've seen years after year, like will come out. Well, it's toward the end of the season. And I feel like I can't continue to say that because I've been waiting and I just haven't seen that same Oklahoma State team. And so like, I'm all in for Arkansas. Bree Ellis, huge fan of hers. And just watching them play, like they're unreal. They're really, really peaking right now. And so I'm sorry, Oklahoma State. I've had your back this whole season, but I can't pick them for this regional.
All right, Mike, the biggest question that has to be asked, that everybody wants us to ask, is obvious.
Yeah.
Phillip, are you going to be in the stand?
I might be there Friday for the game against Indiana. I might be.
That's it?
I have 3 small children. The last time we took the girls to a softball game, it did not go well. And so,
Not well for Oklahoma State or not well for you?
Not well for me and the
above.
very hot and grumpy children. And so that was with me, my wife, and my mother. So there was an even number of adults with children. Didn't matter. I don't know. The goal for me is to go to the Friday game at 3:00. Maybe take one of the girls. And so we'll see.
Maybe that's what Oklahoma State needs. Maybe they need
know
you.
this. Yeah,
No,
this is why I talked.
I talked to the SID Surge before the interview, and he was like, "Are you going to make it?" And I was like, "I don't know. I probably shouldn't because if I do, it'll get rained out. Because every time I'm supposed to go to an Oklahoma State game, weather has some sort of impact. So like this year, the UCA schedule gets all thrown off. Like 3 years ago, I was supposed to go when they were in Memphis, and the Saturday games got canceled. There was the Kansas game at home last year, and the weather pushed the game to later, which is why the girls were so grumpy. I'm just like, I don't know if I should even plan to go. I'm afraid I'm bad luck and we'll throw the whole weekend off. And
it's because they know you're a hater. That's why.
Wow. Whoa. Wow.
That's why. Maybe if you change your mindset, Phillip, things could go differently. Just saying.
There's that trash talk queen we all know and love. Go ahead, Eric.
All right, let me make say. First of all, maybe try to sneak out there. Leave the kid. The kids could go somewhere else, and you go watch some softball. You got work to do. You're a media personality here. You're one of the voices of the Big 12.
Ooh, that explains a lot.
No, I'll go. Okay, that's my next. All right. This is what here's the case I'll make for Oklahoma State. For the first time all year, they have no pressure. There's no pressure. Like, nobody expects them to win this regional. This is a team that was expected to do a lot of things, didn't get there this year. Ruby Malin, I saw them at Oklahoma City. That was about as distraught of a team as I've ever seen. Like, they were speechless after losing Arizona State. There's no pressure here. Play to your abilities. And if in that ballpark, that's a park that if you're struggling, I would want to play there because you can hit. And all the pressure is on Arkansas. They have all the expectations. They have who's going to win the National Player of the Year in Bree Ellis. There's Robin Herron. Can she shut down this Oklahoma State line? I disagree with you, Phillip. He's going to ride Ruby Malin. You cannot trust Riley Crandall at this point in a game like this. You have to get off to a good start. You're not going to come out of this in a loser's bracket game. I think the only time you see a Riley Crandall and the rest of the arms is in a blowout or against St. Louis. To me, you win. You go win or lose with Ruby Malin. I think she would demand the ball. I think she wants that ball, and she is capable of winning that regional. And you talk about things I cannot wait. Just do me this favor, Indiana. Go away. I want 3 games. Best of 3. Arkansas and Oklahoma State. Phillip knows the story. These two teams do not play in the regular season.
It's not OSU's fault.
I'm not going to stay. I'm friends with both coaches. I'm going to stay out of it. But Let's just say Kenny has mentioned that he's willing to play them, and I don't know what the whole story is. I'm guessing they don't exchange Christmas cards or whatever. I want to see this best of 3. I don't want to see Indiana in the regional final. I don't want to see. I don't care. I want to see this 2 teams go battle for 3 games because I think it could be epic. I think it'll be exciting. I am curious, in all seriousness, Phillip, how many Oklahoma State fans do you think will make the trip to Fayetteville? Because if they do turn out, let's say for the Saturday game against Arkansas, that could be a fun atmosphere with the Arkansas fans and the Oklahoma State fans. So I hope that's what we get. But I don't know, Phil. Do you think the fans will show up for Oklahoma State?
I think there will be plenty of orange there. I think there's gonna be a lot of Arkansas fans because, I think that the Arkansas fan base has gotten, because this team has been so good for so many years now, it has actually finally built up. Now, the question becomes: is there a baseball home series for Arkansas this weekend? Because if there is, I can tell you where more of the fans will be, and it will be for Arkansas baseball. The Omahogs, they love themselves some college baseball. So it will be really interesting to see from that standpoint. But do I think Oklahoma State fans will show up? Yeah, because I think there's a lot of Oklahoma State fans up in Northwest Arkansas. I think from Tulsa, and there's more OSU fans in Tulsa than Oklahoma City. It's an hour and a half drive. It's a short trip. And so it would not shock me if Oklahoma State's facing Arkansas on Saturday, if they get past Indiana, if there's not a decent contingent of Oklahoma State fans there in Fayetteville. I'd be disappointed if there wasn't a nice section of orange. So, speaking of places that expect to have a good showing.
By the way, I have the answer for you.
Yep.
I have the answer for you. Wow. Arkansas is hosting Tennessee in baseball.
Wow.
Ooh.
What a weekend.
Ooh. Ooh.
It is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday baseball series because remember the baseball tournament is in Hoover.
Yeah.
But that is, my God, what a time to be a sports fan in Arkansas. My goodness.
Man, oh man.
That's the answer, Phillip. Make sure the family goes to the baseball game. You go to the softball game. That's the answer.
I'm going to talk to my father-in-law.
I'm going to pick Arkansas because I picked them before the year, but I'm going to be bummed out if it doesn't go if necessary. And I really do believe Oklahoma State has a chance for the upset here.
I'm going to talk to my in-laws. All right, speaking of fan bases that are going to show up, Texas Tech hosting, as we mentioned, Mississippi State, Washington, and Brown. It's always weird to me with as many teams as there are to see a regular season rematch in a regional, but that's exactly what we have in Texas Tech and Mississippi State. I did ask Bailey Lindemuth about that. That was the first game of the season, by the way, for Texas Tech. So it's been a minute since these two teams have faced off. This is a very, very different Texas Tech team than the one that faced Mississippi State all those months ago. It's weird to see this rematch, but Texas Tech was incredible in Oklahoma City. And we can talk to... I can make the claims that I think Arizona State kind of punted on their game against Texas Tech, and I can say that Arizona didn't throw Devin Nett, so we'll see how much they really wanted that Big 12 championship game. I think it was more important to Texas Tech than anybody else there in Oklahoma City, but the way they're playing right now, the way they've played the season as they've continued to improve and the offense has been as solid as it has, Texas Tech is getting out of this regional.
I agree. I just spent the week with them, and I think you've made a point. I think Texas Tech wanted this champ. You got to understand something. Texas Tech's not used to winning championships. That's a big deal for them
in any sport.
In any sport.
I'm sorry.
And so they were dominant. I was Phillip with the comments there, ladies and gentlemen. I got a lot of Texas Tech fans I've gained over the last week. I ain't losing them, all right? That was Phillip. Listen, I really liked what I saw. First of all, you have the best player in the country. I know Brielle, let's just go win National Player of the Year. Well deserved. She should get it.
Yeah.
If you ask me, I take one player, I take her. Naija Kent. And then watching her live for the first time in my career, woo! She's advertised. I sat in a booth, in a press box, and I was next to the Texas Tech booth, which had the donors that kind of helped bring Naija in. And I was thinking to myself, I hope you got more money in you. You should pay her more. You should pay her more for what she's done with your program, to be honest. She might be underpaid, whatever you're doing, because she's unbelievable. She's incredible. She's healthy now. She wasn't healthy earlier in the year. Jerry mentioned that. in the post-game presser. She's back to 100% healthy. What's interesting about this, Mississippi State, you mentioned it, beat her in Clearwater opening weekend. They also played her last year in the regionals in Stanford. So there's a lot of history there. Mississippi State has talent with Chafin and Sacco. This is a pretty stacked regional. They got a Washington team that has got Kellen DeBoer's daughter there, the Alabama head football coach. We'll see how long DeBoer stays at Washington as a first baseman there. But it's a stacked regional, but I agree with you. I still like Texas Tech. The environment there in Lubbock should be electric. I think the key is, in talking to the folks at Texas Tech, they believe that the offense has turned a corner, that they have clicked now with Alana Johnson. And, the kid that impressed me the most live was the shortstop, Haley Toney. I thought she was phenomenal defensively and with her bat. I think they've got the talent. They're at home. They've got the best pitcher. I'll take Texas Tech. And that is bad news potentially for Florida State, because they are the ones. I said one of the storylines on Selection Sunday is which top 8 seed drew a bad draw by drawing Texas Tech in the Supers. And unfortunately, that's FSU. That's a problem for them. But I do like Texas Tech, and I can't wait to see the atmosphere in Lubbock.
Of course, it was the non-SEC top 8 school that had to get the tough double seed draw.
I love it. I love the conspiracy theory, and I'm not going to really object to it. So, proceed.
Phillip, I'm loving kind of this evil trash talk side of you.
Leah, you've made an influence on him. You've influenced them here.
Because my camera's turned off, so you guys can't see me. So I just now I feel like I'm safe to say whatever. I just need a robot voice now. Texas Tech is going to carry
a classic person.
Yeah. This is good. I feel so much more relaxed.
Classic keyboard warrior. Is that what they call them?
Yeah. Look, I'm just happy this is actually recording. So, knock on wood. I'm in such a great mood. I'm going to roll with it. Last one to preview. Arizona State, as you mentioned, the 2 seed out in LA with UCLA, San Diego State, and UC Santa Barbara. This is as much as I love Arizona State, the big question was, where did they end up? Who were they going to have to face? I don't think anyone has a tougher opening game in the Big 12 than Arizona State does against a San Diego State team that has they beat Arizona this year. This is a very difficult 2-3 matchup. I love this Arizona State team, and I think Kinsey Brown can take Arizona State far in this regional, but that is a really tough regional to try and get out of with San Diego State and UCLA to me.
I agree. I think, can Arizona State win this regional? Yes, but Kinsey Brown would have to throw every game, and they just don't have a number 2. Boy, did we find that out in the Big 12 semifinal, didn't we? My goodness. Yeah, even though I think UCLA is a little vulnerable, they haven't pitched great, but San Diego State, man, they've won a regional here before. So I agree. This is a tough draw for Arizona State. I'm not surprised that they got this draw. I think they kind of played themselves into this regional. I think it's been a successful year for Megan Bartlett and company, but the question is, how much can Kinsey Brown carry them in this regional? That might be a big ask. We'll see. It wouldn't shock me if they're in the regional final, but at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if they went 0-2 either.
Yeah.
So you're right. I agree. I think this is a tough draw. I expect the UCLA team to be locked in, and I think San Diego State's very good. I actually had San Diego State as the higher seed in my bracketology. The committee disagreed. We'll see who's right, if it's the committee or me.
I mean, we all know who it is. It's Eric. Eric's the one who's right.
Right. That's easy.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to get to our interviews here in a second, but I want to wrap up on this. In the last 5... Oh, no, we have to talk about a couple things. I'm just kidding. This is going to be a long one. Whatever. You got plenty of time to listen before regional action starts. In the last 5 seasons, 14 regional hosts have been eliminated from the tournament in the opening weekend. So 2019 through 24, because we didn't have a 2020 tournament. In 2019, it was the 15 seed. 21, we had 9, 13, and 15. And 22, we had 2, 6, 11, 13, and 15. Wild year. 23 was 2, 10, and 11, and last year was 12 and 13. So in those 5 years, the 15's been eliminated twice, the 13's been eliminated twice, and then, of course, a couple of 11s. It's typically the non-8 seeds that we see upset more often than not. So looking at that and just going off history, I'd say we average roughly 2 regional hosts losing or not advancing to the supers each year. So, Eric, which 2 regional hosts would you pick to not advance out of their own regional this year?
Wow.
I'll go.
I think Oregon.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go Oregon loses to Stanford. I didn't have Oregon hosting. I'm still perplexed that they're hosting despite with the bad schedule. They're a good team, but I'm going to take Stanford. I like Alistair there. I'm going to take Virginia Tech over Alabama. I think Bama gets bounced. I think those are two right there. I know that's not really going on a limb, the 15 and the 16. Certainly the popular pick is LSU with Nebraska and Jordy Ball. I'm not going to go there, but I understand why people would go that route. And again, I'm going to say it. I think Oklahoma State has a shot. Kenny knows how to flip the switch in the postseason, man. I'm telling you, and the pressure's on Arkansas. So if you want to tell me who's the most likely from the top 8 to lose a regional, I'm going to pick Arkansas because I believe in that. I just can't imagine Oklahoma State just going out quietly. That's such a non-Kenny. It's so un-Kenny Gajewski-like type of team.
Yeah, Eric, I was thinking the same thing, and I've felt that way this whole season, but I don't know. I'm kind of going toward what Phillip has been saying, and it's just I'm not seeing any light in their eyes, like the same old Oklahoma State I'm used to seeing. So I would love that, but I don't know. I think Arkansas's got it.
Lea, what are your picks?
I'm gonna have to go Nebraska over LSU, and then I am gonna have to take Virginia Tech over Alabama.
I'm afraid that the Virginia Tech over Alabama might be just like too popular of one, and every time a pick like that gets too popular, you just know it's like Alabama's going to roll through. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. Like, I don't understand why Alabama gets to host every year. I don't know what dirt they have on the committee. Right.
Well, that was the frustrating thing that frustrated me about their explanation about Oregon having a better top 50 win percentage than Virginia Tech and this and that. That's why South Carolina got a top. My thing is, okay, so if that's true, if you're using that metric, then why is Alabama hosting who's under 500 against the top 50? That just made no sense to me. But
because Alabama, the rule is written in that Alabama must host a regional every year.
Clearly, or they must cancel, or they'll cancel the tournament.
Right. Or they won't play. I mean, I agree on Virginia Tech over Alabama. We'll see. I've considered Nebraska over LSU. That one's really popular too. And so just to mix things up a little bit, because I agree. I think I like the Virginia Tech over Alabama more than I like Nebraska over LSU. I don't trust Nebraska's offense enough, honestly. Like, as good as Jordy Ball is, I don't know that I trust Nebraska's offense enough to not let Jordy Ball down in a game or two there. I like San Diego State, UCLA. Like, I really like the way San Diego State's playing, and the fact that they've won there before, the fact that they face as good a competition as they do, that one is very tantalizing to me. The other one I am considering, we talked about Texas Tech, is Auburn over Florida State. I know Auburn has not looked as good in conference play. There's a good Auburn team to start the year. SEC play can be tough. I don't wonder if Auburn, Florida State isn't a sneaky kind of regional where, as good as Florida State is, I don't know what it is, and maybe they just don't get talked about as much. I don't know that I buy that Florida State's as good as their RPI says they are. Because I don't think the ACC was as good.
I don't hate that pick.
Thank you. I could absolutely see Auburn knocking out Florida State, and now Texas Tech's hosting Auburn in a super regional.
If we see the Auburn team that we saw at the beginning of the season, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
I kind of like that sneaky pick, Phillip.
Thank you.
Okay.
I got to do something against the grain.
Yeah, you're right. Those popular picks get too popular sometimes.
Once everyone's on one, it's like, man, I thought I had a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to go somewhere else. I got to you guys zig when everyone else is zagging. All right. Last thing before we get to our interviews. Houston has officially announced that they will not be renewing head coach Kristen Vesely's contract. We kind of knew this has been coming for some time since her contract come to an end. So they are on the market for a new head coach. I have 4 names, 3 I actually like, and 1 I'm throwing in as a wild card here. I'm going to let those go. Lea, if you have some as well, and then I'm going to let Eric kind of give his thoughts on these. Number one to me is who they end up with, to me, will tell us how much Houston is actually investing in softball. Similar to Texas Tech going out and getting Jerry Glasgow and spending the money to bring in Nyjah Kennedy. Texas Tech is spending the money and investing in softball. Is Houston ready to invest in softball, or is this just, hey, there's a lot of stuff with Vesely, we just need to go ahead and move on, and we'll get whoever we get? We will know, I think, how invested they are based off who they land. Number one on my list would actually be Texas associate head coach Steve Singleton, former baseball guy. He gets a lot of credit for Texas's real turnaround there under head coach Mike White. I know we could talk about Mike White all we want, but I think Singleton has been instrumental, both from a recruiting standpoint and a coaching standpoint, in getting Texas to the point they've been these last 2 seasons. I think his name gets brought up a lot for different jobs. I think if Houston could pull that one off, that would tell me Houston's spending some money on softball. And has presented something that is appealing enough for Singleton to go ahead and take a head coaching job from, despite having been at least talked to for various SEC jobs, as far as I've been told. Number 2 on my list would be Rodney DeLong, head coach at North Texas. He's had a lot of success at North Texas. Do we have another Glasgow situation of where we think a guy who it's hard at a school where with NIL the way it is and paying players, and it's going to be going towards the schools doing so, will you have more opportunity to do so at Houston and be able to increase your caliber of recruits over a place like North Texas where they probably don't have as much money to spend? Number 3 on my list is, just because he has done an incredible job at where he is at, is James Landreneau at McNeese. It's a smaller school, and if I pronounce his last name wrong, I'm sorry. He has done just an incredible job at McNeese. McNeese is the best team in the Southland every single year. Right there on that, Louisiana-Texas border. I think that would be a sneaky good head coaching hire. Last one, my wild card, is Arkansas assistant DJ Gasso, who used to be the hitting coach for Utah, has been the hitting coach for Arkansas, and gets a lot of credit for Utah's run to the Women's College World Series. I think it gets a lot of credit for the development of Brie Ellis and the offense there in Arkansas. I think that'd be an incredible hire, but he gets paid a lot of money at Arkansas, a lot of money. So he's going to either have to get paid a lot at Houston or just see a really great opportunity for his first head coaching gig.
I think it comes down to how much Houston is willing to invest, like you said. I don't see Steve Singleton leaving Texas unless, like you said, Houston is really, really investing in the sport of softball. I love your pick of Rodney DeLong from North Texas. He is a great coach. When we played North Texas, he is energetic. You could tell the girls really, really enjoyed him as a coach. So I think I would be all for that if he came to Houston. So
no, I
like this list.
Every time Texas Tech is open, we mention Rodney DeLong, and I don't know what it is that he doesn't end up there. He hasn't had the success at North Texas that Glasgow had at Louisiana, but there's no argument that DeLong is a good head coach, at all, not at all. Eric, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I agree with you on DeLong and Singleton. I think those are no-brainers. I like Gasso as well. I like that pick as a sleeper. I think a name that you did not mention that I think will get a look is Victoria Haywood at Nevada. And the reason I say that is, think about where the new athletic director at Houston, Nunez, comes from. Came from the Mountain West. Came from New Mexico. I think he saw what Victoria Haywood has done as a head coach this year at Nevada. I think he saw what she did. She did as an assistant under Newman when they made the Supers at San Diego State. She's young, energetic, has a kind of a reminder of a Cindy Ball Malone background. I saw her up close when she was the director of ops under Coach Ball Malone at UCF. Very textbook, smart, brilliant, relates to the players today, has energy. I would not be surprised if I don't know if she'll take the job. I know she's tight with the SWA at Nevada, but she's going to become a hot name. And I think Eddie Nunez will reach out to her. I would be surprised if she's not on his list, based on also the fact that Victoria Haywood was also at some point on Beth Torina's staff at LSU. And remember, Eddie Nunez worked at LSU with Beth Torina was there. So that's a name to watch. I like DeLong as well as the other mentioned. Singleton makes a ton of sense. The question with Singleton is, if you're Nunez, are you willing to wait a while? Because if Texas makes a run, Singleton may not be available until the World Series. So I don't know if he has a timetable or not. but I would throw in Haywood as a name to watch there, along with the other names that you mentioned there.
I like that. That's good. I looked at some of the Mountain West schools. I just wasn't sure. You just don't know. It feels like softball, I want to say softball tends to be more regional, and in some cases it does. And in other cases, you get coaches from wherever in Napa, whatever. Just like in any sport, you do tend to see a lot of mid majors ending up at, if they're going to get a power job they either have a connection to or that's nearby, where you say, well, that just makes sense to just come over here. And so, but not much from the standpoint of prominent Houston alums coaching in college softball. I couldn't find any. And so from that standpoint, it's Texas connections make a lot of sense. Proximity to Texas, which is why I really like McNeese head coach. I looked at some LSU assistants as well. One name that was mentioned to me, he is not at LSU this year, but he had a lot of success at LSU. Hold on, I gotta get the name. It would be Howard
Dobson.
Howard Dobson, who is taking the head coaching job in the AUSL for the summer with the Volts. So, just another name to throw in the mix there that I have had mentioned to me with the LSU connection there. So, obviously, we'll continue to follow that and keep an eye on it. I know our good friends at Scott and Holman Podcast have a reaction pod that dropped already, so you can go and check that out. I would encourage you to do so. They're the ones who had the very.
Is that right now?
Yeah, it's out. It's out now. It's out now. So after you listen to this, don't leave yet. We've still got 2 interviews. Megan Bloodworth, okay, Bailey Lindemuth coming up. Listen to those, or you can pause, go listen to Scott and Holman, and then you can come back and listen to the interviews. Either way is fine with me. Just don't miss Megan and Bailey. And we're going to get to those because we've gone an hour on this, and it only crashed on me once, and that's perfect. So nothing else to be said, okay? No, this is it. We'll be back. Listen, here's how this is going to work. We will do a show next week, assuming there is a Big 12 team in Supers. And we'll do a Supers preview, okay? So, but once the Big 12 is out, we'll have at least a wrap-up. We'll have a wrap-up. We got to wrap up the season. So, Leah's like, I'm done. Bye. Iowa State's out of here. I ain't sticking around no more. I'm going to go hang out with Coach
You're
Pink
lucky you
and
even got me.
Coach Moore. And, Leah's over here hopping on Big 12 radio. She's getting too big for us, okay? She's getting too big time for us here in the little old 10-12 softball show. Eric's headed off to join the committee. Man, I'm going to be a solo in this thing next year at the rate this is going. You don't want that. All right. Again, thank you, Eric. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Stick around for the interviews, and we'll talk to you again next week. Very excited for this one. Look, you all know me. You know that I love the Big 12, but that I bleed orange. And so anytime I can get an Oklahoma State guest on, it makes my heart a little bit happy. So very excited today to have a phenomenal senior player for the Cowgirls, Megan Bloodworth, joining us. Megan, welcome to the 10-12.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Don't thank you. I always love when the guest is like, thank you. No. You're doing me a favor. This is a treat for me. So, I appreciate you. And of course, our SID Serge is here as well. And I always appreciate the SIDs. You guys are awesome. We're not here to talk about Serge. Sorry, bud. Megan, your final year with the Cowgirls, senior season, it's been a phenomenal year for you. I want to start by focusing on you. Obviously, you were brought in because of how great you are on defense, and you've had a fantastic defensive career there at Oklahoma State. This year, named to the All Big 12 defensive team. First year, they finally did that. I'm sure you were excited that, come on, Big 12. Where's that been? Okay. Defense is very important. It's one of the 3 parts of the game. What is it about defense for you? What is it that makes you so good at defense? Or is it just a passion? Is it just something you focus on? What is it about defense for you?
I think I've just always loved playing defense. Even when we were young and we'd play wolf ball in the backyard, everyone's like, I want to hit. And I always be like, you can hit. I want to be out in the field. It's just something that I've always just had a passion for, and I've just always wanted to be the best at it.
What is it like? How do you get to that point? Because everyone wants to be, needs to be good at defense. You've got to be multifaceted. But what is it you feel like you do that has made you so good, that sets you apart from others?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the people I had access to growing up. Taylor Walls was a big guy that helped me when I was younger. I mean, my mom, he plays for the Rays now, if you know who he is. My mom was always like, he was like in my town of, I don't know, we have like 4 people that go to college to play sports, and he was one of the ones that made it. So he gave me access, and he taught me a lot about just like different arm slots to throw out of, and then just he kind of just helped my game. And then I have a trainer, his name's Jamie Fernandez. Sorry. I'm always in there with him. He has me, even if I'm doing like where you put the bands and you do sidewalks, I'm pretending I'm fielding ground balls, just doing that. And I've taken it with me. I even do it here at school, and everyone's like, "You're fielding ground balls." I'm like, that's just what I've been taught. Like, I'm doing it. I know we're like, I don't know. I just feel like defense is just, I feel like I've always just been the one to have the ball in my, like, I've always just wanted the ball in my hand, and I've always wanted to make the cool plays and I just think it looks so awesome.
No, look, defensive highlights. Like, I know we all get excited about home runs, but like we get thrilled for a home run, but you've seen a home run. When someone makes a really cool defensive play, like the physical things that they have to do to be able to do that are just so cool. Like and so underappreciated. So like I love seeing someone with a passion for making defensive plays, because it's such a thing. I always feel like my favorite guys in like the NBA are the 3-and-D players. Like like as an Oklahoma State fan, Tony Allen is my all-time favorite like basketball player. Guy known for being defensive. You're at Oklahoma State, a school where defense has mattered. I mean, football, we could talk about that, but has been such a thing that fans get excited for. And so it's awesome that you have been so good this season, and really your career at Oklahoma State on the defensive side of the ball. I do want to talk about your offense, because this year, I feel like it's been talked a lot on the broadcast. Shout out Ryan Breeden for doing a great job on radio this year of like, coming into the year, like you've been solid. You've had a good career offensively, but you've just been such a big part of the offense for the Cowgirls this year, and someone they really needed to have stepped up. You have stepped up. What do you attribute to your improvement this year on offense?
I think from this year to last year, my swing hasn't changed. I think I have the same swing. I think I'm being able to put it off more in game, but I think the main thing that has changed with me, I got a therapist this year, and she's really helped me like with my mental game, and just learning like, she's just like really helped me figure out like who I am and ways to like to play basically.
I think that's great. I think it's great for you to kind of bring up and mention that. I think we don't, as we continue to move forward in time, like we learn more and more about the pressures of life and sports, and the importance of having someone to kind of talk through with that. But along with just your hitting, like how do you feel like having someone to talk to, having a therapist like that has helped you as a person?
Oh, I think I've become such a better person. She has like, I've actually never met her. We're on FaceTime when we meet. So I'm hoping she like just shows up one day, but that's another story. I think I've just like I said, I've just learned so much about myself, and it's just like helped me like, I'm able to like work through things with her, and I don't have to worry about like going to my mom about something and she's going to give me this like answer that it's a motherly answer. Like, and then I have her, I don't know. She has me, I'm not a very talkative person. Like when you first meet me, I'll probably say like 5 words, and there it's like, "Hi, how are you?" Good. And that's about it. But she has me like, I go to eat by myself sometimes. Like I would never do that a day in my life before I had a chance to talk to her, and she's just like put confidence in me that I didn't have.
That's awesome. That's absolutely fantastic. I do want to ask, we talked about defense. I just got to go back to Coach Bergeron, or as you all call him, Bergie, as I've been told. What's it been like having him on the staff this year?
Oh, he's awesome. I think he just brings like a different perspective than what we've been used to, and he knows, like, he studies every like team we play, every hitter. I mean, I went in yesterday, it was like 7:30 p.m. and he was in there watching film on like the hitters to show me where to position, like just for each batter. And I think he's taught me so much, and like I think he's just elevated all of our game.
That's awesome. Like, look, he was brought in to be a defensive specialist, and it's good to hear. That's all I've heard from anybody so far is that like he's been fantastic. Like he has done a great job. I talked to Coach Gajewski, and he's like, "No, he's been awesome. I've been terrible." I was like, "Okay, well, that's for this season." You are one of the 5 seniors whose career's done, but you're one of the few who's been there for multiple years now, 3 years at Oklahoma State. With that experience there, I'm sure that, and as a senior, I'm sure they put some leadership on your shoulders and asked you to be a leader for this team. How has that been for you this year?
I think the main thing is like not letting yourself try to become this whole other person. I mean, like, I'm not going to go out and just because they tell me, I don't know if they can, like, tell you to be a leader. I think you just, like, you kind of earn it. Like, you're not going to be a leader just because you're the oldest. You have to earn the respect and, like, that kind of stuff. But I don't think that you're going to go out and just, like, if I'm not someone that's going to start just yelling, I'm not just going to go out there and start yelling just because now I'm supposed to fit this mold. So I think just, like, I don't know if anything's technically really changed in that aspect. I think it's just something that like you kind of come into and just inherit, and you don't really like, if I change the way I am, then that's not who they wanted me to be. So why would I change to what they thought would be a good leader to change into what I think would be a good leader if they already thought I was going to be good?
That makes sense. That's a good mindset to have. Like, it's being a leader doesn't necessarily mean being a different person. It just means being there. And so like as someone who's been there for a while, you have some freshmen who come in, you've had some transfers come in. How have you been able to have an impact on helping to instill the Cowgirl culture with players that were new this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like how you spend time with them, and like when someone comes new into the program, they're going to look to their left and the right to see how the returners are doing it. So really just like keeping the same thing. Like, I'm going to stay doing what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to do it. And then I'm just going to pull them along with me and making sure like they're doing it the same way and holding them to that expectation.
This year, career is coming to a close soon. What kind of legacy do you want to leave, or have you thought about trying to leave there at Oklahoma State during your time?
I think it's just about like who I am as a, oh gosh, sorry. I like to cry.
It's okay.
But, yeah, I think just like how I am as a person, and sorry.
It's okay. You're okay. I didn't mean to make you cry. I'm sorry, but no, you're good.
Okay.
Take your time.
I cry a lot, but I just want them to like know that, I don't know, just someone that gave it their all, had the program's back, loyal and true. I mean, just like a person that you could call up any day and just know that they'd be there. Sorry.
You're good. So I am curious, there at OSU, do you get, as upperclassmen, do you have like underclassmen, freshmen or sophomores that you kind of like take under your wing? And is there one for you?
I think there's a mix. I mean, I think last year I like a lot with Carly and Rose. They were infielders. I think Rose specifically. Sorry.
It's okay. You're good.
I think that just like, because she played short before she got here. I had played maybe 1 year of my life at short, and then we kind of like flip-flopped. Like, I mean, I know I played third the year before she got there, but I was like, I'm about to play second this year, and then we ended up swapping. And every time, I think we like high five or like shake hands probably 50 times a game. And and I'm like, whatever, but every time we do it, we're like, got you. And I don't know, I feel like you could say I took her under my wing, but I feel like she's helped me like through it too, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's okay. I didn't mean to make you cry, so I'm sorry. Coach Gasky has mentioned before, before regionals, he likes to take the team out on a retreat and kind of regroup and get yourself settled. I know typically you guys go to Broken Bow. I think this year you guys went to Eufaula.
Yep.
What's that? Talk me through this retreat, this annual thing that you guys do. Like what is the goal? What is the mindset? What do you hope to go and come away from while you're all there?
I think it just gets us like out of Stillwater, out of what we're like been in all year. We kind of just go to like a different oasis in a way, and we're able just to spend time together. I mean, we don't really get on our phones. Like, we're just together and we kind of just bond. I mean, we sit by the fire, we talk for hours on end, so we just kind of get to hang out and be away from everything.
That's great. Look, anything that helps bond the team together. I mean, you guys have had a long season. You hope to continue this season for as long as you can, and so bonding experiences are obviously big. You guys are going to head on the road to Fayetteville. It's the first time you've had to go on the road outside of the state in postseason for a while. It's a little bit of a different experience for those who've been with this program for a while. Like how do you take that mindset here versus being able to be at home for regionals and supers of having, we're going to have to go on the road to Fayetteville. If we get out of there, we're going to have to go on the road probably for supers before we go to Oklahoma City. What's the mindset there as far as preparation versus knowing you're going to be at home for the regionals and supers?
I mean, I think you got to prep the same. You're still going to play competition whether you're at home or away. I mean, we've been on the road almost all season anyway, so might as well just add another stadium to it. And I mean, I think our preparation is going to be the same. Fayetteville's only about 3 hours, I think. It's not very far, but like our preparation is going to be the same, and we're just going to play the game we love.
All right, how much prep has there been? I got to ask for Bri Ellis because she's kind of presumptive national player of the year. She's been phenomenal for Arkansas this year. I mean, how do you guys feel about when you're going into a game and know there's someone who's as talented as she is? Is that a challenge that you take up? Or is that just like, nah, she's just another hitter. She's just another player. What's the mindset there with her?
Well, I'm not a pitcher, so it might be a little different. But I have full confidence in our pitchers. I mean, I don't care who they're going up against. Like, in my head, you're not going to beat them. So, I mean, I know she's good, but I think it's more of I just have confidence in our pitchers.
That's awesome. You're not going to beat them. I don't even have to worry about it. You ain't going to hit them first. So what comes after college for you? What comes after Oklahoma State?
Well, I'm going to go to grad school at Georgia Southern in the fall and get my master's in accounting.
Okay.
I have a grad assistantship with the shooting sports, which is kind of fun. Kind of up my alley, but
what is that?
Like archery and like rifling and stuff like that.
Very cool. So I read the article that they had on the site about how much you love hunting.
Yeah.
What do you like to hunt? What do you hunt with? What's your favorite season?
We do a lot of deer hunting at home. I mean, I've really gotten into archery or like hunting with my bow. I mean, I've always shot it, but actually using it now. I went turkey hunting like a couple weeks ago with one of the managers. We didn't kill anything, but I mean, I kind of just like going. It's not even the fact of like shooting anything. I think I just like being out there and enjoying it.
We got a lot of duck hunting here in Arkansas. I'm in Central Arkansas. We got a lot of duck hunting. Do you do a lot of duck hunting?
My dad was never. I went once, but my dad's not into it, so I just haven't.
Got it.
Been
Okay.
part of it, but
I don't hunt. So, but it's very peaceful. Someone who used to do a lot of camping and stuff, like being outdoors, getting away from things is always just, man, it's so nice. It can be so peaceful. You just kind of get to just sit in the sounds of nature. So I completely understand the idea of like, even if I don't get anything, it's fine. I just like being out there.
Yep.
Okay. You have been awesome. I like to wrap our interviews up with a few quick fire questions for you.
Okay.
But before we do that, I just want to say again, Megan, you've been fantastic. I really
Thank
appreciate you hopping on with us. All right, here we go. Number one, what is your walk-up song this year?
Oh gosh, it's Uncle Cracker, and it's I actually have no idea the name of the song, but it's Uncle Cracker, and it's like it's a little vibe. I actually have no idea, but I know it's Uncle Cracker.
That's fine. Peanut butter and jelly. What's your jelly of choice?
Grape.
Okay, got it. Grapes number's been on the rise as of late. All right. Best trophy from one of your hunts.
Best trophy? Oh,
Or just best kill or best what? Yeah.
Well, me and my dad went to Texas, and I killed an axis deer like last summer, I think.
Okay. You have it mounted on the wall?
We didn't get it mounted. It's huge.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if you have like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast decor, just a lot of antlers and things.
There's not much room for it, but yeah.
Best, and I know it's a tough question to answer. First favorite memory that comes to mind of your time here at Oklahoma State.
Oh.
I know.
I would say honestly, the most recent that comes to mind is when Carly moonwalked on the table at the
That's fantastic. Oh man, I love softball. Y'all are so fun. Best Coach Gajewski story.
Oh. This is my most memorable one. It was my first year here. I was having a bad day. Like, it was bad. And then we're doing bunt execution. I go to bunt, whacks me right in the leg. I go to field. Every ball it's like bad. I'm just missing everything. I'm getting hit by everything. And then he's like talking to me, whatever, like trying to like calm me down. And then we go to break in the circle, and he's like, all right, everyone say Megan on 3. And I'm like I'm already bawling my eyes. I'm like, you can't put the attention on me. But I think that just because, like, I don't know, I just think it shows that he, like, cares, and he just loves us all.
I mean, the way he always speaks about all of you, anytime I've ever had a chance to speak with him, I think that man loves y'all, every single one of you. Like, it is very apparent. It really is. Okay. Would you rather rob a game-winning home run at the wall or hit a walk-off home run?
Well, I think if I'm going to the wall, that's pretty impressive. So I'm gonna say hit.
Okay. You love defense, so I wasn't sure here which way you would go with that.
If I'm in the outfield, then it might be a little more scary.
All right. Last one. Who is the biggest trash talker on this team?
Oh, geez, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just in the dugout, just yapping the whole time.
Yep. All the time. On defense, everything. Which I probably hear more because she's in center, but
very good.
All the time.
Love it. Megan, you've been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so sorry I made you cry.
That's okay.
Good luck to you and the team this weekend in Fayetteville. Hope the season just keeps going. I always hate when it comes to an end. And shout out to you for everything you've done and achieved in your career there at Oklahoma State. It's been an absolute joy and pleasure to watch you play, and hope we get to talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you.
It's been a while since we've had a Texas Tech guest on, and considering the season they have had and the season they hope to continue to have, it felt like we needed to get a Red Raider back here on the 1012 softball show. So joining us, one of their very talented freshmen, Bailey Lindemuth. Bailey, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you. I am excited. I don't usually get a lot of freshmen on the show, and so this is really fun. And you've had an incredible freshman season. I mean, we've had the all Big 12 awards come out. You were first team and all freshmen. I mean, it's got to feel pretty good in your first year playing collegiate softball, not just to be all freshmen and to be like, I'm one of the best freshmen in the conference, but just to be first team as well, one of the best players in this conference. And that had to have felt great when you saw the announcement.
Yeah, it felt amazing. Knowing that I have my teammates here to push me, hype me up, but all my hard work has paid off, and I'm glad I got noticed for it.
That's great. This freshman season, it's not over yet. Got a lot to go still, but sum it up for me in a few words. What has this season been like for you so far?
I would say very fun. I love it here. Very different than what I came in thinking. I was thinking, just a breeze, just a regular freshman year. No, it's been very different. Like it here.
Good. Okay, so you were committed to Texas Tech before the coaching change, before Jerry Glasgow was hired as the new head coach. What was that whole transition like for you, and what ultimately led to you keeping your commitment to Texas Tech?
Well, as a class, we were committed here. We were committed here to the school, so we wanted to stay committed here. I love the culture here. So knowing that we had a new coach coming in, we wanted to see how well the program was going to go, and it's been pretty well.
Good. So it's obviously it's worked out so far for you. Who, looking at the staff, looking at the year, obviously you have high expectations for yourself every year, and then you're able to deliver on them. But where do you kind of point your credit to this year in helping you have this freshman season that you've had?
I would say Coach Hunter. For defense-wise, my confidence has definitely been boosted. I have done things that I never knew I could do. My range has gotten a lot bigger just by even little things that he has told me. Maybe do this, maybe try this, and I did, and it's worked.
Good. Always listen to your coaches, unless they tell you to do bad things. But that's from a coaching standpoint. Look, you're freshmen. We have talked to a lot of seniors and upperclassmen on this show throughout the last few years, and they always want to make sure that they're leaving. They're having a lasting impact on the programs before they go. That they're able to leave their mark on them. Who do you feel like has left the biggest impact on you this season, as far as players who are upperclassmen or are already here at Texas Tech?
I would definitely say Nija. Every time walking around, she's always putting in extra work, taking care of her body. That's a big thing. So just walking past, knowing she's putting in extra work just motivates us and me as a player just to go in there, extra reps, anything like that.
She's got the incredible reputation she has. What's it like getting to play with her and be her teammate?
Defense-wise, she makes it easy, knowing that I'm playing defense for the best pitcher right now. Great teammate, works hard always. She's always there for you too. So, yeah. That's
awesome. Yeah, it's I wouldn't hate having to play defense behind her.
Right.
That's fantastic. You guys have big regional coming up this weekend. Texas Tech going to host a regional. Absolutely huge opportunity there in Lubbock. What's the vibe like in Lubbock? What's the vibe in the locker room? What's the vibe everywhere about being able to welcome 3 teams into Lubbock, and you guys get to play host to a regional this year?
It definitely feels amazing knowing that we have home field advantage with our home crowd, fan base, everything like that. Culture, we're definitely really tight, so it feels amazing.
You've mentioned culture a couple times. What is the culture like there at Texas Tech?
Very fun, very free too. Just no judge zone.
That's good. Speaking of this weekend, Mississippi State coming back. You guys have played Mississippi State earlier in the season, took an L on that one, but that was months ago. Yes. How are we feeling about a potential? They're the 2 seed, so it would be a potential rematch in Game 2, assuming that you both get to that point. What is the thought there of getting another shot at Mississippi State?
Yeah. Well, in February, that was our very first time playing as a team together. So as the season went on, I think we grew a lot closer. So it's going to be a really good game, very competitive game.
Okay, so where do you, looking at this team from that first game, in the beginning of the team season, new coaching staff, a lot of new players, freshmen, a lot of transfers coming into now. Where do you feel like you've seen just the biggest growth overall from this team? How do you kind of compare day one to as we sit here preparing for regionals?
I would definitely say our communication, like even coming to our offense, if a player sees something that someone else needs to fix, it's great communication right there. Even defense wise. So yeah.
Bailey, you've said you really like it there. I mean, what is Lubbock like for those who have not been? Maybe we got some listeners of the three teams who are headed to Lubbock. Maybe some of their fans, or maybe there's just some prospect. But what's it like there in Lubbock? What do you like about being at Texas Tech?
I would say, it's kind of like spaced out. I don't like close things. Like I don't like everything pushed together. So it's like spaced out. Windy here, a lot of dust, but that's okay.
Yeah, definitely windy. We're talking about the tumbleweeds of rolling out there in West Texas. So definitely, obviously, takes some getting used to. But you're from Texas, so isn't all Texas the same, Bailey?
Here's a little different. You don't know what's coming. Could be really windy one day, the next day your ball's going way over the fence or way in. So it's very different.
Used to. You'll get there. You'll get there. You got 3 more years at least, we hope.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey, we always like to wrap up our interviews with a couple of little quick fire questions for you. Just have a little fun. So first I want to say thanks again for hopping on. Okay. Number 1, what's your walk-up song this year?
Okay, Friday I have Like That by Future. Saturday, I have Fly Away by Lenny. And then Sunday I have $1 Million Baby.
Very good. All right. Okay. Peanut butter and jelly. What is your jelly of choice?
Grape.
Grape. Okay.
Yes.
Going traditional. Very good. All right. Grape and strawberry have been the most popular, and I've had quite a few honey so far this season, but those have all been from coaches. Yeah. Coaches. Okay. What was bigger for you this year? The regular season Big 12 title or winning the Big 12 tournament?
I would definitely say the Big 12 title because we had to play through all those games, all those series. Not losing a series really meant a lot to our team and fighting through knowing that we got that.
Very good. That's a good, I like that answer. Would you rather rob a game-winning home run at the wall or hit a walk-off home run to win a game?
Probably robbing a home run because our pitcher is like knowing that she has us back there so she can feel relief, knowing we can go into the next game and she's just like, oh, my defense has me. So
I like that. I like that answer. Good. That's good. Okay. All right. Look, I love softball. I love college softball. I love the personality. I love the talk, the chanting, all of it. So I got to ask this. Who is the biggest talker on this team this year?
Probably Demi, but also a tie with Anya. So
okay. All right. What makes them so good? What do they do that makes them such a good talker out there during a game?
What's it called? They have things that come to mind, like you'll just notice that they say and you're like, wow. Like I don't know. It's very interesting what they say. So
Okay. Are you a talker and outgoing personality, or are you more of reserved out there on the field?
Reserved on the field, outgoing in the dugout.
Okay, good. That's good. All right, perfect combination. Bailey, you have been awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. Good luck this weekend in regionals with your team. Look, it's all hands on deck. We all root for Big 12.
I hope to see you girls in Oklahoma City in just a few weeks. So good luck to you and your team. And again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event. Up to 50% off, plus free home delivery. Limited time. Exclusively to Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.